All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie Monahan, and I'm a communications strategist here at the Ohio Arts Council. And I'm pleased to welcome you to today's webinar, Get to Know Your Ohio Teaching Artist Roster Partner Organizations. Before we get started, there are just a few housekeeping items to go over. First, everyone tuning in today is in listen-only mode. This just helps to cut down on feedback issues during the presentation. So if you do have a question, feel free to type it into the Q&A box in your control panel. We'll do our best to incorporate questions as they roll in throughout the webinar, and we'll leave plenty of time at the end for questions as well. Next, if you have audio issues or trouble connecting, we recommend refreshing your browser. If that doesn't work, try logging off and then logging back in. And finally, today's webinar is being recorded. We'll post the recording on our YouTube channel by the end of business on Wednesday, April 15th. So if you aren't able to catch the entire live session or you'd like to listen again, you can find it there. All right, that's it for housekeeping. So now I'd like to pass things over to our OAC Arts Learning Coordinators, Jared Small and Chiquita Mullins-Lee, and let them talk a little bit about the roster and then introduce our partners we have joining us today. So Jared, Chiquita, I'll let you guys take it from here.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the voice of Jared Small here. I am one of two arts learning coordinators at the Ohio Arts Council, and I'm joined today by a number of friends from various organizations that you'll see on the screen here, who we call our partner organizations of the Ohio Teaching Artists roster. So today, we're really looking forward to either introducing to you all who we are and the organizations that make up the Ohio Teaching Artists roster admin team, and diving a little bit into the programming of each of these organizations so that everyone has a clear understanding of the variety of resources around the state that teaching artists can take advantage of. In general, right now on your screen, you'll see those 5 partner organizations. And again, just to repeat that the Ohio Teaching Artists roster is the result of a collaborative effort between 5 Ohio organizations dedicated to the arts and learning through arts experiences. So with that, I'm going to launch things off, but I'm going to take a quick pause. Forgive me, Katie. I feel like you're gonna lose it on me, but I got to make sure I close out of Slack because I bet you can see those notifications coming through.
We'll let it slide on this one, Jared. We'll let it slide.
Oh, thank you. You're far too kind. So with that, we'll dive into the first organization today, and that is the Ohio Arts Council, one of, again, 5 partner organizations of the Ohio Teaching Artists roster. And you'll see on your screen, there's my mugshot right there, together with my partner in crime, Chiquita Mullins-Lee. Both of us serve as arts learning coordinators at the OAC. And you might know that the Ohio Arts Council is a state agency of Ohio that funds and supports quality arts experiences to strengthen Ohio communities culturally, educationally, and economically. So we do that in a number of ways, primarily supporting Ohio's artists, Ohio's arts organizations, and of course, Ohio's schools, pre-K through 12. And with that, I'm going to toss it over to Chiquita, who will give you a quick rundown of a number of things that make up the OAC's programming and resources.
Thank you, Jared, and hello, everybody. It's great to be here. So as Jared said, I'm going to talk about some of the programs that we have that we support here through the Ohio Arts Council. First, I want to start off saying that the Arts Council, as many of you probably already know, administers grant making for schools, artists, and arts organizations through a number of well-established programs. First off, the Arts Partnership Grant. This grant supports arts education projects that address the needs of individual learners in their communities. Nonprofit arts organizations implement arts projects with schools or community partners. School-based projects align with the Ohio Fine Arts Academic Content Standards and supplement existing school programs. Through Arts Partnership, teaching artists engage with participants in ongoing, in-depth, intensive art making experiences. Projects can be in school, after school, or community-based, and often culminate in sharing of artwork created and lessons learned. Arts Partnership supports 2-year projects. The grants range up to $25,000 and require a 1-to-1 cash match. The next deadline is March 1st of 2021. The Big Yellow School Bus Program. This provides grants of up to $500 with no match required. The program supports field trips to observe professional arts and cultural presentations. It's restricted to locations within Ohio only, and applications are submitted 6 to 8 weeks in advance of the planned field trip. OAC also supports events and programming. Poetry Out Loud, for example, is a national recitation contest for high school students in grades 9 through 12 and engages students in poetry memorization and recitation for the sake of connecting with their literary heritage and developing public speaking skills. Sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Poetry Foundation, in partnership with state arts agencies nationwide, Poetry Out Loud in 2020 celebrated their 15th anniversary. Students in 6 Ohio regions compete in classroom, school, and regional contests and the state finals. Ohio's Poetry Out Loud state champion wins $200 plus an all-expense-paid trip to Washington to compete in the national finals and to compete for a $20,000 cash prize. Always like to brag about that. We also have the Ohio Poet Laureate Program. The Ohio Poet Laureate has the opportunity to foster the art of poetry and to engage with a variety of constituencies by sharing and promoting poetry through public experiences, public appearances, readings, workshops, and social media. The Ohio Poet Laureate provides public events in urban and rural settings across the state that educate students, community members, and business, state, and civic leaders about the value and importance of poetry and creative expression. There's the Governor's Awards for the Arts Program, which recognizes individuals and organizations who have been vital to the growth and development of Ohio's cultural resources. The Governor's Awards showcases and celebrates exceptional Ohio artists, arts educations, arts organizations, arts leaders and patrons, and business support of the arts. Governor's Awards recipients are honored at a luncheon ceremony in Columbus, where they are presented with the only arts award in the state that is conferred by the governor. Then there's Ohio's Percent for Art program. Ohio's Percent for Art legislation provides funds for the acquisition, commissioning, and installation of art for new and renovated public buildings. Whenever the legislature appropriates more than $4 million for a public building, the law requires 1% of the total appropriation to be allocated for artwork. The program encourages the development of artists and craftspeople and have brought public art into many cities and small communities around Ohio. The Ohio Arts Council's Rife Gallery showcases the work of Ohio's artists and collections of the state's museums and galleries. The gallery is located in the Vern Rife Center for the Government and the Arts at 77 South High Street in Columbus, and is free and open to the public. The gallery offers exhibition tours and regular artist talks and workshops, and many of them feature artists who are part of the Ohio Teaching Artists roster. OAC also supports professional development. Arts Impact Ohio is a statewide biennial professional development conference. It provides relevant, action-oriented, forward-looking content for members of the state's arts and cultural sector. The conference stimulates in-person connections, highlights best practices, elevates a broad range of diverse viewpoints and voices, and helps attendees to build skills to make our state's creative industries even stronger. OAC hosts webinars on data analytics, social networking, grant writing, accessible marketing and event planning, and other relevant topics, including professional development, such as this one today for teaching artists. And Ohio is involved in a number of significant partnerships. The Ohio Arts Council, Ohio Alliance for Arts Education, and Ohio Department of Education have developed an arts education dashboard. This enables parents, educators, school administrators, and policymakers to review school-level, district, county, and statewide data through the Arts Education Data Project. The dashboard displays arts access and enrollment data for Ohio's pre-K through 12 schools as reported annually via the state's Education Management Information System and shows the status of arts education over time in Ohio. Finally, the Ohio House of Representatives Student Art Exhibition is presented by the OAC in conjunction with the Ohio House of Representatives and the Ohio Art Education Association, with additional support from the Ohio Department of Administrative Services. The year-long exhibition features exemplary visual art created by high school students from each of the 99 House districts. The exhibition recognizes the talent, creativity, and innovative visions of students who receive high-quality arts instruction as part of their academic experience. And Jared, I'm going to kick it back over to you now.
Thank you, Shakita. That was a wonderful overview of a lot of the OAC's offerings, and it's always very difficult to follow you in these things because you've got a wonderful knack for doing such things over the web. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Jared.
I'll move to one final slide we have for you on the Ohio Arts Council in particular. You know, Shakita mentioned a couple of our grant programs, Arts Partnership, Big Yellow School Bus, and a couple of others, how they might work with teaching artists. We just want to hone in on a couple more grant programs from the OAC that could work, or in fact do work, directly with teaching artists. And I would say the flagship OAC grant program that does such a thing is known as Teach Arts Ohio. And you can read a little bit about what that grant program does on your screen here. But essentially, in a nutshell, it is an in-school pre-K through 12 artist residency program. And essentially how it works is that a school in Ohio will apply for a grant to work with a teaching artist, lasting between about a week or so, upwards to an entire academic year. And together with teaching artists and teachers, they collaborate on impactful arts integration, standards aligned residencies for students of all ages and demographics. You can see on your screen here that the total professional fee for teaching artists under Teach Arts Ohio is $300 per residency day, and teaching artists must mirror a full school day. So what that looks like is if a teaching artist is in a school one day, he or she will work with a teacher in the school from bell to bell, we like to say. So from beginning of class to the very end of the day, that's considered one residency day. And again, eligible organizations for Teach Arts Ohio are Ohio's public, private, charter, or parochial schools, pre-K through 12. Schools are not required to select a teaching artist before applying. However, if they're awarded a grant, they work with the OAC in identifying an appropriate teaching artist to help accomplish their objectives as laid out in their grant proposal. While Teach Arts Ohio is certainly probably the more well-known teaching artist-related grant program at the OAC, there are others. You can see at the bottom of your screen, we mentioned programs like Arts Start and Arts Next, which are two project support programs for organizations, primarily nonprofit arts organizations in the state of Ohio. And organizations can apply to work with teaching artists in any number of ways, be they artist residencies or perhaps creating a mural in a local municipality. The sky is somewhat the limit in terms of those, what kinds of projects could be done in Arts Start and Arts Next. A couple other OAC grant programs that teaching artists might wish to know a bit more about include the Individual Excellence Awards, which awards $5,000 grants to individual artists in the state of Ohio for past work accomplishments. And finally, the Traditional Arts Apprenticeship Program, which pairs a master artist with kind of an up-and-coming person who wishes to learn that master's craft through the traditional arts apprenticeship program. And that is essentially how the OAC primarily works with teaching artists. I'm going to take a quick pause right now to see if there's any questions out there in the universe about the Ohio Arts Council and its relationship with teaching artists and how we might work with them. And I know Katie will probably jump in if there are any questions. If not, we'll pass the baton on to Jane, but for now, we'll take a quick breather.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have anything right now, Jared, but just a reminder to folks listening in, if you do have a question, feel free to use the Q&A box in your control panel, and we'll be happy to take those questions.
Sounds good. With that, we will pass it over to Jane at Ohio Dance.
Thank you, Jared. Hi, all. I am Jane D'Angelo and the Executive Director of Ohio Dance, and I have had that role since 2003. Ohio Dance was formed in 1976 and inclusively supports the diverse and vibrant practice of dance of all cultures and for all capabilities. The organization pursues its goals through the contribution of a 30-member board of directors representing dance around the state, and we hire over 50 contractors per year. And we can, current programs and activities, festivals and conferences. Our annual festival is held at the end of April and is a 3-day event offering a variety of dance forms taught and performed by various professionals in the field. The virtual dance collection is an interactive website highlighting the dance history of Ohio. We offer 4-day residencies in schools throughout the state based on the collection. Performance opportunities are staged in a variety of settings at our annual conference, the Ohio State House, as well as others. We offer educational resources, networking opportunities, newsletters, and dance artist services. Through our social media platforms, we post upcoming events from our members and of interest to the dance community. We offer fiscal agency for individuals and companies to apply for grants and to receive donations using our 501c3. We have internships for college students looking to receive credit. And we can, next. Now I would like to share how we work with teaching artists. At the annual festival, we hire over 50 professional dance artists. They perform and teach, and we also hire musicians to accompany those classes. We hire photographers, videographers, editors, and a technical crew, as well as administrative staff to help with this big 3-day weekend. For the virtual dance collection, we hire historians, videographers, editors, dance artists to teach during school residencies. And we have resources as well as other opportunities for teaching artists. You can find out more on our website, ohiodance.org. Here you can sign up for our free newsletter and find contact information as well for me. So thank you. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will be happy to answer any.
Yeah, Jane, we have one question asking if the dance festival is usually open to the public.
Good question. Yes, it is. It is open to the public. Actually, all our events that we hold are open to the public. So one thing about the festival is we always have chairs in each classroom. So if people just want to come and observe, they can do that. And we have performances that are open to the public. There's a young artist concert, an evening concert. There are films. So there are a variety of events all over the weekend. There are panel discussions. So you can go online. We have some information about our festivals online, and you can check that out too. And again, contact me with other questions.
One more question for you, Jane. How might one become a member of Ohio Dance?
Another great question. Again, you can reach out to me. My email, Jane@Ohio Dance. You can go on our website. There's a whole membership page. Actually, on our homepage, there's a button that says find out more about membership, and you can check that out. Just contact me and I'll let you know how to do it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jane.
Great, thank you. And I'll turn it over to Marcia.
Hi, everyone. This is Marcia Dobrinsky at the Center for Arts Inspired Learning based in Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you all for your interest in the Ohio Teaching Artists Partnership and all the organizations involved. We're thrilled to have you listening today. A little bit about the Center for Arts Inspired Learning. Our mission is to ignite student learning, creativity, and success through the arts. We work to make sure that the arts are an essential and fundamental part of every child's education and development. We were founded in Cleveland in 1953 as Young Audiences, so many of you may recognize that name. But we now provide, over the last 67 years that we've been in existence, on average about 6,500 arts integrated educational experiences to around 118,000 young people pre-K to 12 in Northeast Ohio. We work with the communities in 6 counties, Cuyahoga and the contiguous counties. CAL, as we're known, is part of the National Young Audiences Network, which has 33 affiliates around the country. And annually, that network serves more than 7 million young people every year. What do? We do a whole lot of things, working with about 70 professional teaching artists. We provide in-school and out-of-school arts integrated multidisciplinary program. We do this through workshops, short-term and long-term residencies, and performances, providing these services year-round. We do a lot of summer programs and camps and community centers, libraries. We like to say we bring the arts to wherever young people are. Our programs are available for pre-K to 12. They meet rigorous academic standards and are customized many, many times to meet the needs of the school or the community site. Our programs are integrated into math, science, English, social studies, and social and emotional learning. A couple of our core programs. Artworks is our 15-year-old college and career readiness program that uses the arts to sort of hook young people to come and improve their skills in the arts, while we're also helping them understand and learn the skills that they need to graduate from high school and to be successful beyond high school and college or career. Things like financial literacy, networking, resume writing, and building. Annually, we provide that program. It's a paid apprenticeship for about 140 teens. They work in small groups of about 10 teens with 1 master teaching artist. In the summer, it's a 5-week program, and during the school year, it's an after-school program, 16 weeks long. We also do other out-of-school programming at 2 of our sites that CAL has been operating since 2017. One is our Inspiration Center in University Circle, and the other one is the Studio 105 at the Glenville Arts Campus. Here we work primarily with young people coming from the neighborhoods of Glenville and Huff, 2 of the most underserved and under-resourced neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland. We also provide professional development for both teaching artists and educators. Our professional development for teaching artists is a way that we connect with artists from beginning interest in becoming a teaching artist all the way through to wanting to improve their skills in areas like behavior management, classroom management, working with students with special needs, or working in an out-of-school setting. And then, of course, one of our major areas is we advocate to make sure that the arts do become and remain an essential part for young people's education and development. How do we work with teaching artists? As I said, we have about 70 professional teaching artists who work with us in the disciplines of music, dance, theater, literary, visual, and the digital arts. We provide those services to schools, community centers, libraries, and beyond. The artists who work with us are independent contractors and are paid as they do the work through those long-term residencies or performance. I mentioned the professional development opportunities for the teaching artists too. We'd love to have as many artists connect with us. So now I'll see if there are any questions.
Okay. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to answer them into the Q&A box. It looks like we are good for now. Thank you so much, Marcia.
You're welcome. Now I'll pass it over to Jared.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jared Hartzler, the Executive Director of the Ohio Alliance for Arts Education. The Ohio Alliance for Arts Education is also a statewide service organization with the mission of ensuring that the arts are an integral part of the education of every Ohioan. We do this in several ways. First of all, we advocate for art access for all. We do that by monitoring legislation and policies related to arts education practice, licensure, and funding. And each week we publish Arts Online, our weekly newsletter, which shares legislative news, calls to action, teaching resources, and professional development opportunities around the state. We offer professional development, as many of our peers on this call do, that include that include arts integration strategies, assessment in arts learning, and any other topic that's timely and in need in the education community. For example, as policies change with teacher evaluation or content standards at the Department of Education, we help unpack those and roll those out for teachers and educators around the state. Our teaching resources, again, are integrated lessons and assessments. We've worked with Battelle for Kids and educators from around the state to develop a host of those things. We share resources from our national partners, including the Kennedy Center. In terms of building collaborations, we maintain very strong relationships with the Ohio Arts Council and the Department of Education. Chiquita with the Arts Council mentioned the Arts Education Data Dashboard. This has been one of our major projects for now the past 4 years. Again, it's that searchable data dashboard with all of the data from 4 years of student access to arts education in Ohio. So it's a very useful tool and it continues to evolve. Another important project that we do with our partners is to convene the Collaborative for Arts Education in Ohio. That's a statewide group of arts educators, arts professionals, teaching artists, people who lead not-for-profit organizations, but the goal is to come together quarterly and really shape the direction of arts education in Ohio. And in the past years, that group has created a statewide arts plan that the Arts Council and the Department of Education and we keep using as we move forward. And then the other important thing we do is work with all of our professional organization peers in Ohio, which include the Ohio Music Education Association, the Ohio Arts Education Association, and the Ohio Educational Theater Association. Again, making sure all of those arts educators have access to the most current knowledge and trends and information for their practice. And finally, we manage a few programs that more or less affect Central Ohio, one of which is the Artists in Schools program. It is a roster similar to this Ohio Teaching Artist roster, but it's been ongoing in Franklin County for quite a long time, and it's anything from residencies and workshops to more ongoing projects. And finally, our other program is called Art in the House. And that's an after-school program that's in partnership with the Columbus Federation of Settlements. But it's a program that serves at-risk youth in their communities and in their neighborhoods, and it's teaching artists work with a group of students in those settlement houses each week. And it's a program that we would be happy to help implement in other communities in the state. And I guess at this point, it would be my opportunity to take questions.
Thanks, Jared. If anyone has any questions for Jared, feel free to type them in the Q&A box there. Looks like we're good, Jared. You covered everything.
Right, thank you.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sound good to me.
Perfect. So my name is Molly Uline Olmstead, and I am the Executive Director of Art Possible Ohio. We are the statewide service organization for the arts and disability, and we work with artists of all ages with disabilities to make creative and cultural experiences more accessible and inclusive. Art Possible is our brand new name. Many of you may have heard of VSA Ohio, which was our previous name. We changed it January 1. We had the opportunity to rebrand and rename, and I believe that Art Possible Ohio really captures what we do as an organization. And with me today, also on the line, is Megan. Megan, will you please introduce yourself too?
Absolutely. Hi, my name is Megan Feitz, and I am the Director of Programs for Art Possible Ohio. And I'll be talking a little bit about some ways that teaching artists can get involved with our programs coming up.
Awesome, thank you. And just so you guys know, if you ever call the Art Possible office, you're either going to get me or Megan. We are a mighty team of two, and so if you're ever like nervous about calling, I don't know, I get nervous when I have to call a place for the first time. It's either going to be me or Megan, and you saw our smiling faces. So, oh, there they are. Thank you. Amazing. So what do? We do a variety of things all through the lens of the arts, disability, and we do them in Ohio. So I've highlighted 5 main areas of our work: advocacy, professional development, collaboration and connection, facilitation, and research. So first and foremost, we are an organization that advocates for the rights of people with disabilities, and then sort of rippling out from there, people who work with people who have disabilities, their families, their support networks, their friends, the people who hire them. And we really want to be a collaborative voice for them. So one of the main things you will hear in the disability community is nothing about us without us. And so we try to consult and collaborate very closely with our colleagues who have disabilities and make sure that we are representing them in the best way possible. We do that through things like professional development. We offer professional development to artists who have disabilities. Being an artist is a tough gig, and getting your name out there, making sure that your portfolio is of a high quality, writing a resume, finding a job, all of those things are really tough for the average artist. And then if you layer in a disability, it just increases the frustration level. And a lot of times doors are closed to people that otherwise should be open. In addition to that, we offer professional development on the flip side. So if you are an arts or cultural organization who wants to be more welcoming to people with disabilities, you want to know how to better hire and work with people with disabilities, you're just looking for a connection to that part of your community, we can help you out with that. We can do workshops, we can do consultations. We can look at your organizational policies, and we can help you figure out how to be the most welcoming place you can possibly be. For collaboration and connection, we link artists with other artists. We link artists with services, and we link organizations to artists. So we get a lot of calls that are just basically like, hey, I am a parent who has a student who's about to age out of high school. Where can I find more arts opportunities for them? They have this issue or diagnosis. Who can I hook them up with? Or, hey, I want to have an event and I really want to reach out to artists who might be disabled, who might have, special needs. How do I get connected with someone? And so we really act as a conduit for that. As far as facilitation, we do a lot of workshops and consultations with both artists and with organizations. So again, sort of going back and forth between those two realms. And we help set up conversations that are often difficult. If you think about a museum who might be wanting to change their hiring policies, for example, and they don't have a lot of funding, and they're thinking about opening that conversation up, it can be really difficult. And so Megan and I try to be an empathetic ear. We both come from the museum world, and also ask those difficult questions in ways that are not overwhelming. And then research. All of our programs have a pretty heavy evaluation component. We work with a couple different evaluators, other organizations. Two research projects that we are involved in right now are our adaptation, integration, and the arts program, which places teaching artists in schools. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But we have pretty rigorous evaluation around that program because we're required to by the Ohio Department of Education, but also because gathering evidence that arts experiences are impactful and increase student outcomes is really important. And we want to make sure that that information gets out there. Another big research project we're involved in now is an IMLS grant with Cincinnati Art Museum. And they are doing what I was just talking about, looking at their internal policies and deciding how do we become more welcoming and inclusive as a museum overall from the inside out, not just looking at visitor experience, but looking at employee experience. Whew, slide. Oh, wonderful. So how we work with teaching artists. Oh my goodness, do we love teaching artists. We love them, love them, love them, because y'all are so smart and have such great ideas. And frankly, you make us look really good. So our first program is our biggest one, and it's adaptation, integration, and art. We facilitate this program around the state. We have about 16 sites right now. We aren't actually doing programming in all of them all year round. So some will be like a half year, some will be just like an intensive 1 or 2 week program, but a lot of them go for the full year. And it's usually 1 day a week, and it's usually about an hour to 2 hours. And sometimes classes rotate through. But they range from film to dance to yoga, movement, visual art. It's a huge variety of art disciplines that are representative, and all of them sort of tie into other subject areas that teachers are working on, and then social and emotional skills and outcomes. The grant it's a grant funded program through the Ohio Department of Education, their Office of Exceptional Children. And we also get generous funding from the Kennedy Center. We have a contract with them, and shout out to the Ohio Arts Council. They are also a generous funder of that program. The next one I'll talk about is cultural access. Megan and I both work on cultural access. Those are trainings where we go out to museums, like I talked about before, and a lot of times we try to engage artists in those trainings. We did one recently at the Columbus Museum of Art where we were looking at studio programs and how can you engage people with disabilities more in a more robust way in an open studio program or a museum studio program. And to do that, we had to get artists in there. So we invited 3 working artists and 3 artists with disabilities, so 6 artists total, and had them collaborate and work together in the studio setting. For the last 2, these are 2 of our flagship programs. I'm going to turn it over to Megan because she oversees them and facilitates them with a masterful hand. So Megan, do you want to hop on and tell us about Accessible Expressions Ohio and Real Abilities?
Thank you, Molly. Absolutely. So one of the Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I can hear you. Yes, you sound excellent.
It got a little jumpy and I unmuted/muted a few times there. So I'll just jump right back in. Accessible Expressions Ohio is one of our more popular programs at Art Possible Ohio. It is a statewide adjudicated exhibition by artists with disabilities. And then we put a call out to artists every fall. We get entries in. We bring in wonderful community members who adjudicate the artwork. And then we essentially travel the show in bits and pieces around the state for the remainder of the year. Now, the way teaching artists come into play for Accessible Expressions Ohio is that one of the main events around Accessible Expressions Ohio is the initiation of the event at our annual Day of Arts for All, which is a celebration of the exhibition, opportunity for family and friends to come together in one space, and a general celebration of the arts in Ohio. Every year we host the exhibition at a different site in Ohio. This year it was meant to be at Springfield Museum of Art. And as part of that Day of Arts, we like to bring in teaching artists to host unique workshops that complement the programs and the artwork hanging in the space. For example, this year, as part of our programming, we were going to show a short film about hip hop, and we were going to offer an accessible hip hop dance class. So that's just one example of a way we bring in creative teaching artists to help us and support our programming. I have no experience with hip hop and I would be a terrible teacher. So as Molly had already mentioned, you guys make us look really good, and we really count on your creativity and experience to augment the work that we are doing. The second program that I oversee is called Real Abilities Film Festival Columbus. This is part of an international film festival that takes place in major cities around the world. Ohio has a few. There's another one in Cleveland. And this is a festival that is really about normalizing people with disability in film, whether they be directing, writing, starring, producing films, and we share these films through various venues in Columbus. As part of this film festival, we like to have ancillary programs that we offer that again complement these critical films that we're sharing with the public. And we really count on teaching artists again to help us create those programs. For example, this year we were going to host a stop motion animated film festival at the Wexner Center. It was going to be a children's program. We were super excited about it, and we'd already worked out a program with a teaching artist who was going to do a clay puppet making workshop to complement that film festival. So again, it's just another example of working with teaching artists to make our programs that we offer more exemplary, and also just, you know, help people get their hands a little bit dirty. We think that's a really fun part of what we can offer. So I think that I want to kind of conclude this by saying we are so excited that you're all on the roster or going to be on the roster this year, but we would love to hear from you if you think you might be a good fit at Art Possible Ohio. We think, you know, we do not have the best idea in the room always, so feel free to reach out to us at any time if you think you have interest in working with us. And at this point, unless Molly, you have anything else, I think we are open to questions.
Yeah, I'm good. So thank you, Megan, very much. Yes, if anybody has any questions for us, we are happy to take questions right now.
Thanks so much, Megan and Molly. If anybody has questions for them, feel free to type those into the Q&A chat box. It looks like we're good.
Thanks, Katie. So this is Jared here again. We're going to hop in and just express my gratitude, our gratitude to everyone on the line today and taking a listen. I think Megan and Molly, you said it the best. You know, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We are here for you. Our work would not be possible without the work of Ohio's teaching artists. So we actually want to challenge each and every person on the line today, each and every teaching artist listening. Take a look at your screen and note some of those email addresses. Everyone you heard today, our emails are up on the screen right now. And we'd like you to reach out to at least one person who you heard from. Maybe it was an organization that you hadn't known much about until today, or a particular program or project or initiative that piqued your interest, perhaps from Art Possible Ohio or Center for Arts-Inspired Learning, or some professional development opportunities from the Ohio Alliance for Education or the Ohio Dance Festival. We do challenge you and ask you to follow up with someone, if only to introduce yourself, tell us who you're all about, what interests you and what you're working on right now. Success really is a two-way street in this business in the arts. And again, our work would not be possible without the work of our teaching artists. And you really do make us all look so good in the end. It's a beautiful collaborative relationship each of our organizations have with teaching artists. So we're looking forward to continuing our work together. We're related to the Ohio Teaching Artists roster, related to our programs and resources and initiatives. Thank you from all of us. And Katie, I'll stop there. There may be a couple questions coming in. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll let you maybe take it away.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jared. So there were a few questions that were very specific about the teaching artist roster that I think I'm going to forward to the people who can answer those best in a separate email outside of this webinar. So I think that'll be a better approach, but we will definitely make sure that those questions get answered. Somebody did ask if all of this information is going to be available on the OAC website and if they can have access to the PowerPoint presentation. And absolutely, we will send you all who have registered and attended a follow-up email with the PowerPoint deck and everyone's contact information so you can be sure to reach out to them if needed. And I think that does it as far as questions go. I just wanted to say thanks again to all of the Ohio Teaching Artist roster partners for being here today. It was wonderful learning a bit more about each of you and you know, the important work that you do with teaching artists and beyond. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone for listening in today. And just a reminder that you'll be able to find a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel by the end of business tomorrow, Wednesday, April 15th. So Jared, unless you had anything else, I think that does it for today.
Nothing else from me. Anyone else on the line want to leave us any lasting impressions? If not, thank you all. We really appreciate your time today. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, thanks a lot, everyone.